Far away from the busy parts of the galaxy, there was a quiet star system. It had no trade routes, no war history, no strong defenses, only silence. In this calm place floated a research station built by a species called the Ilaris. The Ilaris were not warriors, they were thinkers. They studied stars, planets, and space energy. Their ships were small, their weapons were weak. They believed knowledge was more important than power. For many cycles, their station worked in peace, until one day, something changed. At first, it was just a small problem. A mining ship stopped sending signals. This was not strange. Space storms sometimes blocked communication. The Ilaris waited. Then another ship went silent, and another. Soon, 3 ships were gone. No messages, no warnings, no debris, just gone. Inside the station, the control room grew tense. Screens showed empty space where ships should be. Scientists whispered to each other. What is happening? System error? No, this is something else. The station leader, Commander Velen, stood still and watched the reports. Velen was calm, but his eyes showed concern. Send a scan, he said. Full system scan. I want everything. The crew followed his order. Sensors spread across space, searching for anything unusual. For a moment, nothing appeared. Then, a signal returned. Weak, strange, not natural. Commander, one officer said, voice shaking, we are detecting something near the outer orbit. Velen stepped closer. Show me. The main screen changed. At first, it looked like empty space, but then something moved. A shadow. Large. Too large. It is not one object, another officer said slowly. There are multiple shapes. The room became silent. Velen narrowed his eyes. Unknown ships? No match in database, came the reply. Energy readings? Very low, almost 0. That is not possible, Velen said. Every ship used energy, every machine left a trace, but these did not. Suddenly, one of the shadows moved, fast, too fast. Before anyone could react, another Ilaris ship disappeared from the screen, just like that. No explosion, no signal, nothing. Fear spread through the control room. They are attacking. But how? We cannot even see them clearly. Velen made a quick decision. Activate defense systems. A pause. Then someone answered quietly. Commander, our weapons are not strong enough. Velen knew that already. The Ilaris were not built for war, and now war had come to them. Hours passed. More ships were lost. Outer stations went silent. The shadows moved closer, slowly, patiently, like hunters. The Ilaris had one final option, something they had never used before, a distress signal, an SOS. In a hidden part of the station, an ancient system was activated. It connected to the old Galactic network, a database of species, thousands of names, thousands of histories. Some were friendly, some were neutral, some were marked as dangerous. Velen stood in front of the console. Find the nearest help, he said. The system began to search. Names flashed across the screen, distances, power levels, response times. Then one entry appeared, highlighted, different. Species name, human. Below it, a warning appeared. Status, Deathworld species. The room went quiet. One scientist spoke carefully. Commander, we should not contact them. Why? Velen asked. The scientist swallowed. The database says they come from a high-risk world, extreme weather, dangerous life forms, constant conflict. Another added, they are strong but unpredictable. Velen looked at the screen. Time was running out. More ships were disappearing. More lives were at risk. "Are they close?" asked Velen. "Yes," the system replied. "Closer than any other species." "And their response time?" "Fast." Velen took a deep breath. "We do not have a choice." The room filled with tension. "Commander, this is dangerous." Velen turned to his crew. "So is doing nothing." He placed his hand on the console. "Send the SOS." The signal launched into space. A simple message, clear, direct. "We need help." Then silence. Seconds passed. No reply. Minutes passed. Still nothing. Some crew members relaxed. Maybe they didn't receive it. Maybe we are safe. Velen did not speak. He kept watching the stars. Then something changed. The sensors started to shake. Alarms rang across the station. Energy readings spiked. Not small, not normal, massive. "What is happening?" someone shouted. "Unknown energy surge detected. Location: deep space, outside the system." Velen stepped forward. "Show me." The main screen changed. At first, it looked like empty space, but then something moved. A shadow. Large. Too large. "It is not one object," another officer said slowly. "There are multiple shapes." The room became silent. Velen narrowed his eyes. "Unknown ships?" "No match in database," came the reply. "Energy readings?" "Very low, almost zero." "That is not possible," Velen said. "Every ship used energy, every machine left a trace, but these did not." Suddenly, one of the shadows moved, fast, too fast. Before anyone could react, another Ilaris ship disappeared from the screen, just like that. No explosion, no signal, nothing. Fear spread through the control room. "They are attacking. But how? We cannot even see them clearly." Velen made a quick decision. "Activate defense systems." A pause. Then someone answered quietly. "Commander, our weapons are not strong enough." Velen knew that already. The Ilaris were not built for war, and now war had come to them. Hours passed. More ships were lost. Outer stations went silent. The shadows moved closer, slowly, patiently, like hunters. The Ilaris had one final option, something they had never used before: a distress signal, an SOS. In a hidden part of the station, an ancient system was activated. It connected to the old Galactic network, a database of species, thousands of names, thousands of histories. Some were friendly, some were neutral, some were marked as dangerous. Velen stood in front of the console. "Find the nearest help," he said. The system began to search. Names flashed across the screen. Distances, power levels, response times. Then one entry appeared, highlighted, different. Species name, human. Below it, a warning appeared. Status, Deathworld species. The room went quiet. One scientist spoke carefully. "Commander, we should not contact them." "Why?" Velen asked. The scientist swallowed. "The database says they come from a high-risk world, extreme weather, dangerous life forms, constant conflict." Another added, "They are strong, but unpredictable." Velen looked at the screen. Time was running out. More ships were disappearing. More lives were at risk. "Are they close?" asked Velen. "Yes," the system replied. "Closer than any other species." "And their response time?" "Fast." Velen took a deep breath. "We do not have a choice." The room filled with tension. "Commander, this is dangerous." Velen turned to his crew.
So is doing nothing. He placed his hand on the console. Send the SOS. The signal launched into space. A simple message, clear, direct. We need help. Then, silence. Seconds passed. No reply. Minutes passed. Still nothing. Some crew members relaxed. Maybe they didn't receive it. Maybe we are safe. Velen did not speak. He kept watching the stars. Then, something changed. The sensors started to shake. Alarms rang across the station. Energy readings spiked. Not small, not normal, massive. "What is happening?" someone shouted. "Unknown energy surge detected. Location: deep space, outside the system." Velen stepped forward. "Show me." The main screen changed.
The station was silent. No one spoke. No one moved. Every eye was fixed on the massive ship outside. It floated in space like a dark giant, heavy, still, watching. Commander Velen stood in the center of the control room. His hands were behind his back, but his fingers were tight. "Scan it again," he said quietly. The crew obeyed. Sensors pushed to their limits, but the results did not make sense. "Commander, the readings are unstable." "In what way?" "The ship is too large for its energy output and too powerful for its size." Velen frowned. "That is not possible." "I know," the officer replied, "but it is real." Another voice spoke. "We're detecting hundreds of internal life signs." Velen looked surprised. "Hundreds? On a single ship?" "Yes, and all are active." The Alaris ships usually carried small crews, 20, maybe 30. But this human ship carried hundreds. That meant something. It was not just a ship, it was a moving fortress. Outside, the giant vessel slowly turned. Its engines glowed with deep orange light. The glow was not soft. It looked hot, dangerous, alive. "Commander," one scientist said, "its surface is covered in damage marks." "From battle?" asked Velen. "Yes, many battles." The metal hull was not smooth. It had scratches, burns, deep scars. Some parts looked repaired. Others looked like they had survived explosions. "This ship has seen war," Velen whispered. Suddenly, a soft sound echoed in the room. A signal. Incoming. All screens turned toward the main console. The message was simple text, no symbols, no strange code, just clear language. "This is human warship Ares. Identify yourselves." The crew looked at Velen. No one wanted to answer, but someone had to. Velen stepped forward. His voice was calm, but slow. "This is Alaris Research Station 7. We sent the distress signal." There was a short pause. Then the reply came. "Message received. Stand by." That was all. No questions, no emotion. The Alaris looked at each other. "Stand by?" One whispered. "What does that mean?" Velen did not answer. He was watching the human ship. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. The ship did not move. It just stayed there, waiting. Then suddenly, alarms screamed. "Enemy contact! Multiple ships entering the system!" The shadows were back. The dark shapes, the same ones that had been hunting them. They appeared near the outer orbit again, silent, smooth, deadly. The Alaris crew panicked. "They're back! We cannot fight them! They will destroy us!" Velen raised his voice. "Stay calm." But even he felt fear. They had no defense, no escape. The dark ships moved closer, slowly, like they weren't in a hurry, like they already knew the ending. One of the dark ships moved fast. In a second, another Alaris drone disappeared. Gone, no trace.
"Commander, we're losing units again." Then something unexpected happened. The human ship moved. The giant vessel turned toward the enemy. Its engines burned brighter. The orange light grew stronger. "What is it doing?" a crew member asked. Before anyone could answer, a new message came from the Ares. "Unknown hostile detected." A short pause. Then, "We will engage." The room froze. "Engage?" someone repeated. "Are they going to fight?" Velen stared at the screen. "They're not running." The human ship began to move forward, not fast, but steady, confident. The enemy dark ships changed direction. They noticed the new threat. For a moment, both sides stopped, facing each other, silent. Then, the first shot was fired. A bright flash came from the human ship. A powerful beam of energy shot across space. It hit one of the dark ships directly. For the first time, the enemy reacted. The dark ship moved quickly, trying to escape, but it was too late. The beam exploded against its surface. Light filled the darkness. The Alaris watched in shock. They hit it. Direct hit. The enemy ship did not disappear instantly, but it was damaged. Its smooth surface was broken. "This is the first time," a scientist whispered. "We have never seen them take damage before." The battle had begun. More weapons activated on the human ship. Large cannons moved into position. Missile ports opened wide. Energy levels rose higher. Inside the Alaris station, fear mixed with something new, hope, but also confusion. "Why are they helping us?" someone asked. "They don't even know us." Velen looked at the massive warship. His voice was low. "Maybe this is what they do." Outside, space turned into fire. The human ship attacked again, faster, stronger. The enemy ships responded. They moved like shadows, evading attacks, striking back with silent force. A beam from the enemy hit the human ship. The Alaris gasped, but the human ship did not fall. It did not run. It kept moving forward. Another message came from the Ares. "Alaris Station, move behind us. We will handle this." The words were simple, but powerful. The Alaris froze. No one had ever said that to them before. No one had ever stood between them and danger. Velen gave the order. "Move the station systems back. Stay behind the human ship." The Alaris obeyed, still in shock. Outside, the massive human warship placed itself between the Alaris and the enemy, like a shield. The dark ships moved closer, more of them now, surrounding, watching, waiting. The Ares never moved back. It stayed in front, alone, facing the unknown. Inside the station, one young officer whispered, "Commander, what are humans?" Velen looked at the burning engines of the warship, at its scars, at its power, and he answered slowly, "I think we're about to find out."
Space was no longer silent. It was alive with danger. The dark ships moved slowly around the human warship. They did not rush. They did not panic. They acted like hunters, calm, patient, cold. The Alaris watched everything from behind the safety of the human ship, if it could even be called safety. Commander Velen stood still. His eyes were fixed on the enemy. "Scan them again," he said. "We need to understand what we are facing." The sensors worked hard, trying to read something, anything. "Commander," an officer said, voice low, "we are getting clearer data now." "Show it." The screen changed. This time, the dark shapes were more visible. They were not normal ships. Their surfaces were too smooth. No windows, no clear engines, no visible weapons. "They look alive," someone whispered. Velen did not answer, but he felt the same. "Energy readings?" he asked. "Still very low," the officer replied, "but they are moving fast, too fast." "That means they are hiding their power," Velen said. Another scientist spoke. "Commander, we found something in the old records." Valen turned. "What is it?" The scientist hesitated, then said the name slowly. "Void Hunters." The room became quiet again. "I thought they were only stories," another crew member said. The scientist shook his head. "No, they are real." Valen stepped closer. "Tell me everything." The scientist took a breath. "The Void Hunters are not like normal species. They do not build empires. They do not communicate. They move from system to system and erase life." "Why?" someone asked. "No one knows," the scientist replied. "Some say they feed on energy. Some say they are machines. Others believe they are something else, something older." Valen looked back at the screen. The dark ships were still moving, slowly surrounding the human warship. "How many?" he asked. "Counting? 12? No, 14 ships. Too many, even for a warship like Ares." "Commander," one officer said quietly, "the human ship is alone." Valen did not speak. He knew what that meant. Outside, the Void Hunters made their move. One of the dark ships suddenly rushed forward, fast, silent. It aimed directly at the human warship. "Impact incoming," the Alaris officer shouted. But the human ship reacted instantly. A bright shield appeared around it. The dark ship hit the shield. A wave of energy spread across space. The Alaris gasped. "They have shields that strong?" Before the enemy ship could escape, the Ares fired. A massive cannon shot exploded forward. It hit the dark ship at close range. This time, the damage was clear. The enemy ship broke apart. Not completely, but enough. Pieces of it floated away. The Alaris crew stared in shock. They destroyed part of it. But something strange happened next. The broken pieces of the enemy ship started moving. "What is that?" someone whispered. The pieces slowly pulled back together, like they were alive, like they were healing. Within seconds, the ship was whole again. Fear filled the room. "They can repair themselves?" Valen felt a cold chill. "This is worse than we thought." More enemy ships moved forward, faster now, more aggressive. They attacked together. Beams of dark energy shot toward the human warship. The Ares took the hits. Its shields glowed under pressure, but it did not fall. Instead, it moved forward. "Commander," an officer said, "the human ship is not defending. It is pushing forward," Valen finished. The Ares was not trying to escape. It was going deeper into the enemy formation. Why? Inside the Alaris station, confusion grew. Why would they do that? They're outnumbered. Valen watched carefully. There must be a reason. Suddenly, new signals appeared on the sensors. "Commander, the human ship is changing its energy pattern." "How?" "It is increasing power, rapidly." The Ares began to glow. Not just the engines, the entire ship. Lines of light moved across its surface, weapons charged, systems activated. Then a message came, analyzing enemy behavior, adapting strategy. The Alaris looked at each other. Adapting? The enemy ships attacked again, faster, smarter, but now the human ship moved differently. It dodged attacks. It turned at perfect angles. It fired with precision. Every shot now hit something important. One enemy ship lost movement. Another lost power. "They're learning," a scientist whispered. The Ares was studying the enemy, understanding them, becoming better. "This is not just a ship," Valen said slowly. "It is thinking." The Void Hunters changed their strategy again. They spread out, surrounding the human warship from all sides. 4 ships moved behind it, 5 in front, the rest on the sides. A perfect trap. "Commander, they're surrounding it." Valen felt tension rise. This is it. But the Ares did not panic.
It stopped moving. For a moment, everything became still. Then a new message came. Threat level high. A pause. Response escalation. The Alaris did not understand the word, but they felt its meaning. The human ship powered up again, stronger than before. Weapons unlocked, systems shifted. It was no longer holding back. Valen stared at the screen. The fear inside him changed. Not fear of the enemy, but fear of what the humans were about to do. Outside, the Ares stood in the center of the enemy fleet, surrounded, outnumbered, but not afraid. One young officer whispered, "Commander, are we safe?" Valen watched the glowing warship, the burning engines, the rising power, and he answered quietly, "I don't think anyone is safe anymore."
The battle reached its peak. Space itself seemed to shake. The human warship, Ares, stood in the center of the enemy fleet, surrounded, outnumbered, targeted from every side. The Void Hunters did not wait any longer. They attacked together. Dark beams fired from all directions, fast, silent, deadly. They hit the Ares at the same time. The shields of the human ship flared bright. Energy waves spread across its surface. For a moment, it looked like too much. Inside the Alaris station, fear returned. "They cannot survive this. They're taking too many hits." Commander Valen did not speak. He only watched. Because something felt wrong. The human ship was not retreating. It was not losing control. It was preparing. Suddenly, the Ares stopped moving completely. "Why did it stop?" a crew member asked. No one answered. Then, all its lights turned off. The glowing lines across the ship disappeared. The engines dimmed. The shields dropped. What? They lowered their shields. Shock filled the control room. "Commander, this makes no sense. They will be destroyed." Valen stepped closer to the screen. His eyes narrowed. "No, watch carefully." The enemy ship saw the same thing, a target without shields. They rushed forward, faster than before. It looked like the end. Then everything changed. A deep pulse moved through space. Not light, not sound, but something stronger. The Ares came alive again. Its engines exploded with bright orange fire, stronger than before, louder than before. New lights appeared across its surface, sharp, white, intense. Weapons systems opened, not the ones seen before, bigger, heavier, more dangerous. "Commander," an officer whispered, "these are new weapons." Valen felt a chill. This ship was hiding its true power. The Ares had been holding back. Now it was not. A message came from the warship, short, cold. Combat mode, unrestricted. The Alaris did not understand the full meaning, but they felt it. The human ship moved, fast, too fast for something that size. It broke through the enemy circle in seconds. A massive cannon fired. A beam of pure energy cut across space. It hit 2 enemy ships at once. This time, they did not recover. The ships broke apart completely. Their pieces did not move again. "They destroyed them," someone whispered. The Void Hunters reacted. For the first time, they changed behavior. They pulled back. But the Ares did not stop. It chased them. Missiles launched from its sides, dozens, each one tracking a target. Explosions filled space. Fire and light spread everywhere. 3 more enemy ships were destroyed. Inside the Alaris station, the crew stared in disbelief. "This is not possible. No ship can do this." Valen spoke slowly. "This is not just a warship. It is a weapon of war." The Void Hunters regrouped. The remaining ships came together, closer, tighter. They were learning too. "They're changing formation,"
an officer said. "They're adapting to the human ship." Velin nodded. "Yes, but not fast enough." The Ares changed again. Its weapons became more precise, more controlled. It no longer wasted energy. Every shot had a purpose. One enemy ship tried to escape. The human ship locked onto it. A single shot fired. Perfect. The enemy ship stopped moving, then, slowly, broke apart. "They cannot escape," a scientist whispered. Inside the Ares, the humans were calm, focused, working together. No panic, no fear, only control. The Alaris sensors picked up internal signals. "Commander, their crew is stable." "What do you mean? They are not afraid." Velin was silent. "They're in the middle of a battle, and they're calm?" another asked. "Yes," the officer replied. Velin looked at the burning battlefield. This is normal for them. The Void Hunters made one final move. All remaining ships rushed forward, together, one last attack. They aimed everything at the human warship. Energy beams filled space again, stronger than before. But this time, the Ares was ready. A new shield appeared, different, stronger. The attacks hit it and failed. The human ship pushed forward again, straight into the enemy. Weapons fired non-stop. One by one, the enemy ships were destroyed. No recovery, no escape. Within minutes, the battlefield became quiet again. The Void Hunters were gone. Only broken pieces remained, floating in space, silent. The battle was over. Inside the Alaris station, no one spoke. They had just seen something impossible, a single ship defeat an entire fleet. Velin slowly sat down. "What are humans?" he whispered. No one answered, because no one knew. Outside, the Ares turned slowly, its weapons powered down, its lights dimmed, but its presence still felt heavy, powerful, dangerous. A final scan came in. "Commander, the human ship has minimal damage." Velin looked up in shock. "Minimal?" "Yes, it can continue fighting." That made it worse, much worse, because now they understood the truth. This warship was not special. It was normal. And if this was normal, then how many more like it existed? The silence in space felt different now, not peaceful, but waiting. And far away, inside the Ares, a new signal activated. A signal, not sent yet, but ready, waiting for the next command, the next battle, the next call for help.
The battle was over. Space became quiet again. The broken pieces of the Void Hunters floated slowly in the dark. No movement, no sound, no threat. The Alaris station remained still behind the human warship Ares. No one celebrated, no one spoke. They were safe, but they were not calm, because now they were thinking about the humans. Commander Velin stood in the control room. His eyes were still on the massive warship. It looked different now, not attacking, not glowing, just floating in silence. "Status report," Velin said quietly. "Enemy fleet destroyed. No active threats detected. Damage report? Station is safe. Minor system stress. No major loss." Velin nodded slowly. They had survived, but something inside him felt heavy. "Commander," a young officer said, "what do we do now?" Velin did not answer immediately, because he did not know. For the first time in their history, the Alaris did not understand what came next. Then a signal came. The entire room froze. It was from the human warship. Velin took a deep breath. "Play it." The message appeared on the main screen. "Threat neutralized. Area secure." Simple words. Cold. Clear. That was all. The Alaris looked at each other. "That's it?"
someone whispered. They saved us, and that's all they say? Velen stepped closer to the console. His voice was careful. Open communication. A short pause. Then the connection opened. For the first time, the Alaris spoke directly to humans. "This is Commander Velen of Alaris Station 7, he said. We thank you." Silence followed. Then a reply came. Acknowledged. Nothing more. The Alaris were confused again. Velen continued. "You saved our system. You protected us." A pause. Why? The question hung in the air. Why would a powerful species risk itself for strangers? Seconds passed. Then the human answer came. "You sent a distress signal." The room became quiet. Velen frowned slightly. "That is true, but we contacted you by mistake." Another pause. Then, distress signal received. Response required. The words were simple, but they carried meaning. "You help anyone who asks?" Velen asked. A longer pause this time. Then, "If help is possible, yes." The Alaris crew looked at each other. "That makes no sense," one whispered. "They are a Deathworld species, not protectors." Velen thought deeply. The database had warned them. Dangerous, aggressive, unpredictable. But what they had seen was different. Yes, humans were dangerous, very dangerous, but not in the way they expected. Velen spoke again. "Our records say your kind is highly aggressive." This time the reply came faster, correct. The Alaris felt tension rise again. Velen continued carefully. "Then why did you not attack us?" Silence. Then, "You were not the threat." The answer was clear, simple. Humans did not attack without reason. They only became aggressive when there was an enemy. Velen slowly understood. "Your aggression is controlled," he said. No reply came, but the silence felt like agreement. Another officer stepped forward. "What about the Void Hunters?" she asked. "Do you know them?" A short pause. Then, "Hostile species identified. Previous encounters confirmed." The room grew tense. "You have fought them before?" Velen asked. "Yes." "How many times?" A pause. Then, "Multiple." The Alaris felt shock. "They defeated us easily," one whispered. "And humans have fought them many times?" Velen's voice became serious. "Are they a major threat to the galaxy?" This time the answer came slowly. "They are a threat." A pause. "But not the only one." Those words were heavy. Not the only one. That meant there were more dangers out there, more enemies, and humans were facing them. Velen looked at the massive warship again, the scars on its surface, the power it carried. This was not a ship built for one battle. It was built for many. "Human warship Ares," Velen said slowly. "How many ships like you exist?" There was a long silence. The Alaris waited. Finally, the answer came. "Enough." A simple word, but it carried a deep meaning. The Alaris understood. They did not need numbers, because if one ship could do this, then many ships would be unstoppable. Fear returned, but not the same fear as before. Not fear of destruction, but fear of power. Velen asked one last question. "If we had not sent the signal, what would you have done?" A pause. Then, "Continued patrol." Velen nodded slowly. The humans were always out there, watching, listening, waiting, not to conquer, but to respond, to fight, to protect. The truth became clear. Humans were dangerous, very dangerous, but not in the way they expected. They were dangerous because when someone needed help, they answered, and when they answered, they brought war with them. Velen looked at his crew. "We were wrong," he said quietly. "The database was not fully correct. Humans were not just a Deathworld species. They were something else, something the galaxy did not understand yet." Outside, the Ares began to turn. Its engine slowly came back to life. It was preparing to leave. The Alaris watched in silence. They felt something strange, relief and loss, because now they knew if the humans left, they would be alone again, and the galaxy suddenly felt much more dangerous.
The human warship Ares was ready to leave. Its engines glowed softly. Not like before, not like war. Now the light was calm, quiet. The Alaris station watched in silence. No one wanted to speak. No one wanted the moment to end. Commander Velen stood in the control room. His eyes followed the massive ship. "Commander," a young officer said slowly, "they are leaving." Velen nodded. "Yes." There was a pause. Then the officer asked, "What do we do now?" Velen did not answer right away, because the truth was simple. They would continue. They would rebuild. They would survive. But something had changed. Before today, the galaxy felt safe. Now it felt unknown and dangerous. Suddenly, a new signal appeared. "Commander, incoming transmission." Velen looked up. "From who?" The officer's voice was low. "From the human warship." The entire room became still again. "Play it," Velen said. The message opened. But this time, it was not just for them. The signal spread far beyond the system, across deep space, across nearby sectors. It was a broadcast. "To all frequencies," the system said. The Alaris looked at each other. "They are not just talking to us. They are talking to everyone." Velen stepped closer. "Listen carefully." The message began. A human voice, calm, clear, strong. "This is human warship Ares." A short pause. "Distress signal received and resolved." The words were simple, but they carried weight. Then the voice continued. "To any species receiving this message." The room felt heavy. Every Alaris listened. Every nearby system would hear this. Then came the words that would change everything. "If you send a distress call," a pause, "we will answer." Silence filled the station. No one spoke. No one moved. The message ended, just like that. Simple, clear, final. The signal continued traveling across space, faster than ships, farther than vision. Worlds would hear it. Stations would record it. Civilizations would question it. Velen slowly sat down. They just told the entire galaxy that they are coming. One officer shook his head. "No, not coming. They are already out there." The room grew quiet again, because that was the truth. Humans were not arriving. They were already present, watching, waiting, listening. Days passed. The Ares had already left, gone into warp, vanished into the dark. But its message remained. Across the galaxy, reactions began. On peaceful worlds, fear spread. Humans will come if we call them? That is dangerous. On war-torn planets, hope was born. If we ask for help, they might save us. On powerful empires, leaders became silent. A species that answers every distress call? That is not normal. They could appear anywhere. They could change everything. Some saw humans as a threat. Some saw them as protectors, but no one ignored them. Back at Alaris Station 7, life slowly returned to normal. Repairs were made, systems were restored, but the memory remained. Commander Velen stood in the archive room, in front of the Galactic database. The old entry was still there. Species, human. Status, Deathworld species. Warning, do not contact. Velen stared at it for a long time. Then he spoke quietly.
This is wrong. He reached forward and changed the entry. The room was silent as the new words appeared. Species, human, status, extremely dangerous. Velen paused, then added one more line. Will respond to distress signals. Another pause, then the final line. Contact only if you truly need help. The system saved the update. Velen stepped back. One officer looked at him. Commander, do you trust them? Velen thought for a moment, then answered slowly. I trust what they do, and what they do is dangerous. The officer nodded, because now they understood. Humans were not heroes. They were not saviors. They were something else. They were the answer to danger, and answers like that always come with a cost. Far away, deep in space, the Ares moved through warp, silent, fast. Inside the ship, everything was calm again. Crew members worked normally. Systems were stable, like nothing had happened. Then, a small light blinked on a console, a signal, new, another distress call, from somewhere far away, unknown origin, unknown danger. The system processed it, then displayed one simple message, SOS detected. A human officer looked at the screen, no fear, no hesitation. He pressed a single command, set course. The massive warship changed direction. Its engines burned bright again, faster, stronger, moving toward the next call, because somewhere in the galaxy, someone needed help, and humanity was already on the way.